I'm Martin Curtis. I work for Jigsaw Homes Midlands. I'm a neighbourhood engagement officer. So Jigsaw Homes Midlands, we were originally set up as Gedling Homes in 2008, and we sort of inherited the housing stock that used to belong to Gedling Borough Council. So we've got about 3,500 properties here in the Gedling area in Nottingham, but we've always been part of a bigger housing group based up in the northwest. So up in the northwest they've got over 30,000 properties. Our stock here, it includes 18 of what we call over 55 schemes. So that's where basically people predominantly over the age of 55 live independently in their own flats and apartments. So it's partly getting tenants communicating with each other and feeling less isolated, but also building up their confidence again to actually go out and participate in something that might be happening in the wider area again. So, you know, we established, say, like a singing class here outside in the garden, but I think, you know, gradually that sort of gave people the confidence to then explore the sort of what was happening in the wider Carlton area again, because we're so close in this scheme to Carlton Top here, and you've got other activities going on through Age Concern, and obviously you've got your pubs and your cafes and whatever. So I think people gradually giving them that confidence to engage with other people then enabled them to explore what was happening outside again, and yeah, just really to become less isolated and to really I suppose hopefully get back to where we were before the pandemic.
It's ostensibly my duty to look after the building and its surroundings, but a part of it is obviously signposting residents to help which they might need and making sure that they're living their best lives. I try and talk to them obviously on a very regular basis, but we look for marking signs that they might not be managing their own lives too well. Go and talk to them and find out what sort of help we can assist them with getting. We generally don't actually host the activities ourselves. That's why I'm doing building management rather than being an entertainer for a living. But we do have a number of people who do visit the site who are a bit more specialised in what they're able to provide people with. A regular event that we have is bingo, which the residents manage to organise for themselves, and all we have to do is make sure that they have all the bits that they need to be able to play the game. But we also have singers visit and people who run art classes as well. We have a fitness guru called Sarah, who we've recently been introduced to, who's terrific with the residents, and will hopefully be able to keep them fit from the comfort of chairs rather than having them getting up and down like in a Zumba class we once had them do. We also do sort of occasional parties for the residents, especially to mark events. Recently we had the coronation and before that the Jubilee, so as long as we offer some cake, we'll get a lot of residents turn up for that as well. We're finding nowadays it's actually becoming quite difficult to fit in new activities because every morning and every afternoon we have something going on for the residents.
My name's Sarah Davies and I instruct seated exercise to music classes in 2 Jigsaw Homes independent living schemes in Gedling Borough, and just about to start a third one. The residents actually asked for the classes, which I think is quite important, so they wanted to do them rather than someone else thinking it would be good for them to do. We hold them every week, the same time, on the same day, in the same place, which is their communal lounge. And again, I think that's really important for the consistency point of view, so they know that every Wednesday at 2:15 they're going to the lounge to do the exercise classes. They don't have to think, oh, when is the third Wednesday of the month, or if it's like 2 weeks apart, which week is it going to be on? So we're sitting down in the chairs in the lounge. We do the exercise to music, and again the music's very much tailored to what I hear from the residents, so what they like, what they don't like. And so the music that I play in one housing scheme is very different to the music that I play in the other housing scheme. The exercises are all designed to improve their strength and their confidence, their coordination. And then we do some specific strength exercises, and I take some light weights, balls or resistance bands along to help with that. And again, that's very much tailored to the participants that we've got in each of the housing schemes, and on what their health conditions are, what's safe and appropriate for them to do. So the exercise classes are all about improving their strength, and that's what they report having happened. And also prepares them if they've got like an operation coming up, for example, a hip replacement operation, and then it helps them to recover after the operation. So great for increasing their strength and their balance and their confidence. But it's more than just an exercise class. They're a real focal point for the housing scheme every week. And some people have said that, you know, before they were just marooned in their rooms, they'd only come down maybe to go shopping or go and do the laundry, and they didn't know anybody else in the scheme. And now they're coming down and they're doing the exercises and they're making new friends, they're finding out what's out and about in the area, and that's been brilliant for them. People who come don't always do the exercises, but they know that there's going to be a group of people there. So, for example, in one housing scheme, there's always a gentleman that meets me at the front door because he just wants to have a chat. There's another one that's usually on the bench having a chat with me as I leave. There's other people that come in because they know there'll be a group of people that they can talk to. And the scheme coordinator always knows that people are going to be there. So if there are any messages she needs to pass on, then she can. We share a lot. So, you know, when it's people's birthdays, we share cake and we sing songs. We share news about what's out and about. So if I hear about a new health walk, for example, that Age UK is setting up, I can tell them about that, and then they can start attending that for their kids. If there are any concerns about things that are going on in the scheme, like the laundry or the bins or the garden, they can pass them on, and again, I pass them on to the scheme coordinator. We help with things like blue badges, attendance allowance, how to use the phone, how to get the phone topped up. If there's things that they need in terms of like prescriptions or help in getting their COVID vaccinations, could help with that. I've given them information about the accessible transport, and one scheme has actually used that to get a minibus trip sorted to Liverpool, which went down really well. So they're now arranging another one to Chesterfield, so that's something that they have arranged themselves. In June, Notts Wildlife Trust were doing the 30 Days Wild in June, so I handed out wildlife word searches and wildflower seeds that they could plant in the garden or in their rooms. And another couple of groups actually went on a trip using that minibus to Attenborough Nature Reserve. We talk about the local coffee mornings and friendship clubs and lunches, and then they accompanying people to those things. For the Jubilee, we talked about the Jubilee Tea Party. We kind of got things together for the time capsule. The coronation, we all gathered together to look at that, and then went to a local church to do the celebration. So there's a lot that goes on in those sessions. And the participants wrote me a letter, and I think it's really important. So what they got out of it is it's an opportunity to build strength, to make new friends, and it's really helped establish a great community spirit.
Exactly what Sarah said is that it is more than delivering a PSI or seated exercise class. It's really what the difference with this has been is that it's around really nurturing the housing scheme tenants and building that trust with them. Building that trust and those relationships, which Sarah's done really brilliantly, has meant that the confidence of those individuals has grown hugely. They've started to know who their neighbours are. They've started to talk to their neighbours. They've started to realise what shared interests they have. They've then led on further to develop those shared interests, arrange trips together, want to spend time together, want to connect with one another. I think that's really important. And because Sarah is that trusted person, it means that they've brought issues to her for her to help with. And because of her community connector role within Carlton, she is such a connected person within that local community for her to understand where to point people to, either locally or just in general through her general knowledge of helping people apply for a blue badge or any other things that they need help with. She even helped somebody with understanding their Alzheimer's diagnosis letter from their GP. So I think having that understanding of the system and where to point people to help for that help is really important. Through Again, she doesn't just deliver an exercise class. She takes them on imagination journeys. I think she really expands their horizons, develops their mindset. Also, there's been a lot of nature connectedness. I think post-COVID, getting people back out of their rooms, getting people back into nature, as she said, but having wildflowers, seeds to plant in the gardens, that's got people taking ownership of the gardens, coordinating between themselves. All this is really, really important. And that's why that we wanted to share this story at the Talking Space.